Hey everybody, thanks for checking out another episode of the Aaron Advantage podcast. Today I'm in the studio on my own answering the question, are agents obsolete in the tech era? All right, everybody, I wanted to come to you today to go over a little bit of information because there's a lot of conversation about whether or not real estate agents are going to be necessary moving forward in the tech era. Before we start answering those questions and getting into kind of the deep dive of the information that I want to discuss today, I wanted to really define what the tech era is because a lot of people have ideas of what the tech era is. And they don't really understand exactly what that definition looks like. So the tech era is defined as the current period in history where significant advancements in technology have given rise to the digital age, which has accelerated with the rapid evolution of computer and telecommunications technologies. What the heck does that mean? Ultimately, what it comes down to is through the advancements in technology that we are experiencing, the rapid increase in communication capabilities has risen to where we are today. I'm recording a podcast sitting here in a studio, which used to cost millions of dollars for somebody to own some place where they could go in and have bands come in and record information and other things. I'm utilizing a laptop and a cell phone to be able to record this information, to put it together, to blast it out to everyone, which I will publish for free because of the amazing advancements that have happened in the internet. So we are in the tech era today. We are in an era when people have the ability to come out and put out all this information and all this content as quickly and easily as they want without much barrier to being able to do that because of the advancements in the technology that we are experiencing. So what has that done and what can that do to real estate professionals moving forward in this industry? Well, first and foremost, before you understand what that's going to do to what real estate professionals do, you really need to understand exactly what it is that real estate agents do for their clients. So some of the things that we do, obviously, are going to be helping our clients buy, sell, or rent property. What kind of property? It could be houses, it could be apartments, could be commercial buildings, gas stations, all kinds of different things. But ultimately, at its core, what we do is we help people buy properties or lease properties or help them sell those homes or properties to other people. Me personally, I specialize in residential real estate. I help people both with new construction homes as well as people who want to sell their current home or people who are purchasing resale properties. I do some help with land acquisition and other things of that nature, but by and large, the business that I do is helping people buy and sell single-family residential homes, whether those are investors, owner-occupants, or anything else. That is the vast majority of where I make sure that I stake my claim as an expert in the field because I spend my time making sure that I can do my best to take care of my clients in that niche of the industry. Real estate agents for sellers, we help them evaluate their properties, take a look at the condition, take a look at the features, and kind of get an idea of what the appropriate marketing value for that property is. The best way we can do that is by looking at the data of other homes that have sold around them, as well as things that are currently on the market that could affect their value based on how they compare as far as condition, location, as well as size and other factors that go into that. Not only do we help them evaluate the pricing, we help them evaluate the marketing to get it out there in front of the most buyers possible to try to get them the absolute best price, best terms for them to make sure that they can get a deal that makes them happy moving forward. In addition to that, once we have it marketed, once we have a buyer who is ready, willing, and able to purchase that property, and they send us an offer, we help them negotiate the deal to ultimately get something that makes everybody happy so that at the end of the day, the seller is able to sell their home, the buyer is able to buy that home, and we can make sure that all of the processes that go through that transaction are taken care of. We also help the clients get their home ready to sell because let's face it, not every single home is ready to put on the market today. I know that if I wanted to sell my house, for example, I would not be ready to do that today. My wife and I have 2 kids and we have lots of toys and they're strewn about all over the house. Now, do we keep a clean home? Absolutely. But the home you sell is not the home that you live in. You need to make sure that you get it ready to go for other people to be able to visualize themselves living in that house. And the best way to do that is to personalize it and make sure that it is set up so that people can view the property, envision themselves in it, and not have a distraction of all the stuff that you have in your home. So we're always happy to come in and help people understand what they need to do to get their home ready. After that, we obviously help connect buyers and sellers by putting the information out there so that we can bring people together to get these transactions taken care of. And then we help through all the legal and financial aspects of the transaction. A lot of people utilize mortgages when they're purchasing a home, and they are not just simply utilizing cash transactions back and forth. There are a lot of people who do that, and that's fantastic. But for the other people that aren't able to do that, we are able to connect them with the professionals who are able to help them through the process of getting financing. Let's face it, today more than ever, the process of getting a loan is probably more complicated than it's ever been in history. So making sure that you can contact somebody who can connect you with the right lender who can get you through the process and make it as easy and stress-free as possible is definitely a value to our clients. Not only that, there's a lot of legal things that transpire to make sure there's no liens against that property, to make sure no one else has a claim of ownership against that property, or any of the other major things that go into making sure that when you're buying your home, you make sure that it stays your home and you're able to make sure that no one else can take your home away from you. Throughout the process, we're going to also be the people that you turn to find the vendors that you want to utilize throughout the process. Now, those vendors could be home inspectors. They can be appraisers. They can be contractors to do repairs. It can be people to come evaluate specific aspects or features of the home. I always tell everybody your home inspector is kind of like your family doctor, your general practitioner. And sometimes they may find things that they need a specialist to come in and take a look at, whether that be a structural issue or HVAC issue that needs somebody who really specializes in those. We have a vast network and a vast knowledge of the people in the marketplace who can come in and take care of you to get those things done. So those are just some of the things that real estate agents do on a day-to-day basis to make sure that they're taking care of everything that their clients do. I read an article one time that said that for every real estate transaction, there are about 180 steps that your agent does behind the scenes to make sure that you're taken care of. And a lot of those steps have been streamlined and have been made better throughout the use of technology and innovation in the tech era. But the role of the agent has changed somewhat due to the technology that exists. Now, first and foremost, what I want to explain to you is technology has really impacted the role of a traditional agent in ways that make their role more important now than it was in the past. We used to be the gatekeepers of the information, is what I like to tell people. I've got a buddy who in his office has MLS books from the 1980s. We used to actually have physical books that you had to have access to be able to get the information about the homes that were available for sale, that had all the pricing and all the information out there. Obviously, now there's a whole lot of different things that exist because of innovation and because of the tech era that we live in that have changed our role, but haven't really eliminated it. And so I want to kind of go through those first points that I talked about as far as what agents do to help their clients and how technology has impacted that. So first off, we help people buy, sell, and rent properties. Obviously, that's not going to change very much, but some of the things that we do to help those things happen have been improved dramatically through the tech era. First and foremost, analysis of market trends, sales data, active competition. All of that information is so much more readily available, not only to consumers today, but in-depth information is more available to agents today through the use of online multiple listing services, or MLSs, which you may have heard them called. These MLSs allow agents who are participating in them to upload all kinds of information, photos, measurements, descriptions of the property, documents pertaining to any covenants and restrictions on the use or design of the property, bylaws for homeowners associations, so that people who are looking at a community can determine whether or not they want to be a member of that homeowners association. All of that information is available in the MLS, which allows us, when we're evaluating properties, to find the best comparable homes so that I can offer my clients the absolute best pricing and the best marketing strategy when they're thinking about putting their home on the market. Or on the flip side, the same thing for buyers. The last few years, everybody thinks, hey, all you have to do as a real estate agent is just help your client offer the highest offer to get the best price to make sure that they get their home. As markets change, and markets do change, your negotiating ability and the tactics that you utilize have to change along with that. And I can tell you right now that helping my buyers understand the value of a property when they're making an offer is also something that I'm going to do. And a lot of that is done the same way as what I would do when I'm trying to help a seller come up with a price for their home. So analysis of market trends is so much easier because the MLS has all that data in one place that goes all the way back in time, and I can trace the history of a single property through multiple times it's been listed, find out who's been involved in the transaction, find out what are the actual best comparable properties, not just by size and location, but maybe they have the same finishes because I have these great high-resolution images that I can look at now. That is one thing that has drastically improved through the use of technology, is my ability to better analyze every single home to offer the absolute best value to my client to help them understand the best pricing. Advertising. Obviously, our job as real estate professionals is to help our sellers get their home in front of as many people as possible, because the broader the market, the more eyes on that home, the higher the potential demand can be. And we all know the law of supply and demand. If your house is the only supply and we give you more demand, what does that mean to your price? Means it's going up. It means we're going to be able to get you a better price for your home and help you make sure that you're getting a number that you're happy with to put as much money back in your pocket as possible. Advertising homes used to be done in magazines and newspapers, and the information was slow because you had to put it out there to the publisher a week prior to it being actually published and all this and out there. So somebody might have driven by and seen the sign and everything, and you might have negotiated a deal, and by that time you may not have been able to get as many eyeballs on it because you have a location that's not a high trafficked area as you can today through the use of the internet. Social media marketing and advertising has opened up the audience tremendously. I put a home on the market in Newburgh. The buyer purchased the home from the state of Oregon without ever even coming to Newburgh to find out that it existed, because they had an alert set up, because they knew they wanted to be in Newburgh, and they were able to get that information immediately. They could see that advertising across the country to understand the property that I had available on the market, and through the use of high-resolution images and other things in my advertising, they were able to contact a local agent to get them access to the property to purchase the home just through the advertising options that were not in existence even 20 years ago. Advancements in photographic technology and video tours obviously allow people to view a home from anywhere in the world. As I just mentioned, these people purchased a home from Oregon. They viewed the property online through the use of video tours that we create, through the use of the photos that we utilize, high-resolution images that can show you the layout of the home, that can show you the features of the home, all these wonderful things. And then they did what a lot of agents do now, something that really rose over the time of COVID and everything else, and that is a virtual showing. And what I mean by that is they hopped on their phone, they utilized FaceTime, and they had their agent physically walk them through the home. A lot of people think, man, I don't know if I could do that. That scares me. I don't know if I'd be comfortable doing that. I have family members who I've sold homes to. My own sister, who works on my real estate team, was able to purchase a home because of the use of technology that allowed me to get in and walk through the home with her and let her see that property from Indianapolis whenever she bought down here in Newburgh. That technology didn't exist or wasn't utilized very much prior to 2021 because people wanted to get in homes and other things. But guess what? People have bought real estate sight unseen for decades. It doesn't mean that it never happened prior to the technology that we have today. What it means is we've made it that much easier. So people are more comfortable today than they've ever been, and they have the ability to really feel as if they've seen the home without having to physically fly across the country to come in and check it out on their own. As far as assisting people with the legal and financial aspects, that's gotten a lot easier because of online transaction management software. Ultimately, I tell my clients all the time that their financial information is their own, and I do not need to be involved in that in any way, shape, or form. But what I can do is I can broker the communication between them and their lender and set up that system where they know exactly who they're talking to, and they can get that information to them as quickly as possible. Email, PDF technology has made it so much easier to get the documents that are necessary for your financing directly to your lender instead of having to get all the files physically pulled together and walk them into their office as you used to have to do in the past. It also allows us to assist with some of the legal documents that are necessary as far as the contracts and everything else, because we use online transaction management software. We utilize digital signatures, which are legally binding and allow us to send contracts out to you as quickly as possible, so you can click on them and say, yes, I understand what I'm signing, sign those documents, and get those back to us basically instantaneously. That's something that even from the time that I've been in real estate has dramatically improved. I remember when I first got licensed in January of 2007, we actually had the carbon copy purchase agreements and listing contracts and everything else that you had to make sure you press real hard when you're signing your name on those, because you had to have multiple copies that you could keep: a physical copy for yourself, a physical copy for the client, and a physical copy for your broker, that everybody had to make sure that they had those. And I can tell you right now that once you got down to that bottom page, especially on a purchase agreement, which had a fourth page down behind it, it got really hard sometimes to read that copy to see exactly what was going on. Today, everybody has a crystal clear digital copy of every document they sign through the use of products like SkySlope, Dotloop, and all these other technologies that allow us to get digital signatures and send them back and forth. Not only that, providing our ongoing support is tremendously easier. And with that ongoing support, I'm talking specifically about the processes of appraisals, inspections, and all of the communication, and really the navigation of the timing of all of those things. I always like to show people my calendar, and I'm going to pull it up right now for the people who are watching this on video. I can tell you right now that my life is 100% completely predicated on being able to utilize this guy right here. And this is a nightmare for a lot of people, and unfortunately, I understand that. But for me, this is how I live, and this is how I am able to continue to do the things that I do. And that is, I have systems in place that I have color-coded appointments and other things that allow me to basically act as a project manager. So you can ask me any day at any time when the showings are scheduled for any of my listings, and I've got that on my calendar. You can find out what inspection response deadlines I have coming up, and I've got that on my calendar. Who's going to the appraisal? When is the appraisal being done? Who's the appraiser? Who's doing it? All of that stuff is so much more easily managed because I've got it with me all day, every day on my cell phone. Not only that, every single form, every single file, every single piece of documentation that I used to have in a physical folder, carrying around with me in a briefcase with all of the information that I have that I'd have to sift through and try to find, that's not happening anymore. I'm so much more efficient through my cloud-based computing systems, utilizing Google Drive, utilizing SkySlope, utilizing all these different systems, that I have zero paper that I have to utilize in my business. I do everything online. I have access to it everywhere in the world. It's all backed up and redundant because I don't have it on a hard disk or anything else. It is all out there where I can access it at any point in time. And that's also beneficial to my clients, because if I'm out of town, or if something happens to me, or I decide to take a vacation with my family, anybody can step in to my business and know exactly what's happening on every single transaction for every single one of my clients, and they're going to be able to make sure that even if I'm not there, my clients will still have the same exact service and the same exact experience of getting that deal taken care of, because I've laid it all out and I've provided them with the exact systems necessary to keep that deal going and moving forward. Now, that's all stuff that has improved the way that I take care of my clients. Obviously with technology and things changing in the industry, a lot of people could point to those and say, well, Aaron, what I hear you saying is it's really not that hard to be a real estate agent. It's really not that big of a deal for people to do this stuff. It sounds like it's all just pretty easy stuff. Now, the truth of the matter is that is not necessarily the case, because there's still a lot of things that go into taking care of other things. One of those is the way that we can interact with other agents, because I tell people this all the time. We have what we call cooperating brokers on the other side of every single transaction. And even though all this technology exists to make things so much easier between me and my clients, I also need to make sure that I've got things in existence that make my communication and my skill with other agents important and valuable, and, things that are necessary in the transaction work easily as well. One of the things that has made that so much better is the advent of a cell phone. And let's face it, everybody's got a cell phone. You know what they are, you know what they do, and everything else. But There's so much more communication style available through your cell phone that people are aware of. Obviously, you can make phone calls, you can send text messages, you can send email, all of these things. Those are all great things that you can utilize. But what people don't realize is you can use those in conjunction with each other. You can send an email that everybody has access to on their phone, but you also need to know that you can communicate with that text message to let them know that it's there or other things that are going on. Not only that, cell phones are great for utilizing what I do a lot, which is video messaging, because I can tell you right now that if I need a short, simple message that I don't necessarily need to be on a long phone call for, sending somebody a short video message is a great way to convey a simple message that gets the point across, which also does not allow for interpretation. We've all received text messages that we've read, and the intent was completely different than the way that we read that message. And I can tell you right now that that is something that a lot of agents do not understand. There are a lot of newer agents in the industry that want to use text messages only. They don't ever want to pick up the phone and call, or they don't want to send a video message or emails. And that's totally fine if that's what you want to do. But I can tell you right now, the use of that video messaging to be able to convey those messages quickly and effectively has really improved the way that I can communicate with other agents throughout the transaction process. Digital signature platforms allow us to easily transmit documents back and forth. No longer are the days where I have to go get a copy and then hop over to the office to put it on the fax machine, or even before that where I had to make a copy and physically drive it over to somebody else's office. I can literally have my technology set up that once my client signs and they hit submit, not only do I get a copy, not only do they get a copy, but it automatically transmits a copy to the agent on the other side of the transaction as well. And I let them know that offer is coming their way, that they're going to be taken care of, and that they know when to expect it. I also then make sure that I follow up with that cell phone, send them a quick text message to say, hey, I've just received a copy of the signed documents. Want to make sure that they're in your inbox. If you have any questions, let me know. And that makes our communication on the front end quick, effective, and it makes them understand that I'm going to stay on top of everything and get things done for them as quickly as possible. I said this earlier, but this is also something that I think is vastly more important than people realize, and that's the online multiple listing service that gives us the ability as agents to put all of the information that another agent could ever need in one place. It is a place where we can disseminate all of the information about the property, about anything that's affecting the property, such as the covenants and restrictions. As I said, it's going to have your information on showing instructions about how other agents can get access to the property, including the use of a new technology that it continues to develop over time, which are e-boxes that allow us through Bluetooth to get access in and out. It tracks what time people are coming, what time people are going. It allows us to make sure that they know what the utilities look like, what the taxes look like, all of the information necessary for a buyer's agent to help their client understand everything they need to know about a property before they decide to put in an offer. It allows them to make an informed decision. It allows them to answer any question their client may have without having to do additional research. And as a listing agent, I utilize that platform to make sure that I can provide my cooperating brokers with as much information on the front end to make their job even easier, because this is a demanding industry. This is a job that can be high stress. This is a job that can be hard when you're trying to make sure that you're taking care of all of your clients, and it's difficult to remember all of the information that you need to know about every single property every single day. When I go to show a home and the listing has almost no description, has very few photos, none of the information that would be valuable to have to fill out a purchase agreement, it's very frustrating for not only me, but for the buyer, because it takes additional time to try to go back and forth and remember all of the questions that the buyer wants to ask, because they may ask several questions. I'll get those answers and they'll be like, well, I forgot to ask this because that information wasn't there as well. So being able to put all that information out there to make it easier for other people's clients, not just my own, to get and have that information is also a wonderful service that I have for my sellers to make sure that they're the best taken care of they can be. After that, obviously, other things that exist that have made things simpler, online scheduling services, online scheduling tools that allow agents to request a showing directly online. And it allows them, in some instances, depending on if the client's comfortable or not, to communicate directly with that client through that third-party service to ask for a time, and the client can okay it. In some cases, it goes directly into a scheduling service for vacant properties that just gives you an automatic yes, you're good to show, puts it on a schedule so we know when people are coming in and out. It has definitely made it so much easier for agents to take care of their clients so that they can quickly and effectively schedule times and appointments for home showings. And that has made that portion of the business so seamless and so much quicker that it allows us to take care of the more important things and spend more time doing those important things for our clients without the worry of waiting for somebody to get back to us to let us know yes or no on a showing. Hey, I don't remember if I heard back from them. I got to follow up again. Now we have confirmed, emailed, verified proof. Once those showings are scheduled, we have that information available. So, man, that's a lot of stuff. Technology has definitely impacted every aspect of everything that we do. There's technology now with those key boxes, as I mentioned, that people can just get codes and go into homes. People can just get all the information about a house off of a website, and they know everything they need to know about that property, and they don't really need an agent to help them figure out and navigate the process. It's so easy for people to see all the photos that a real estate agent's job is basically just opening doors and collecting checks at this point, right? Wrong. There's a very unique value that agents bring to the customer, and that is in their customer service and their customer experience. I pride myself on making sure on either side of the transaction that the most important thing that I'm bringing to my client, and I tell them this all the time, is the service that I have from bringing you from the beginning of the transaction process to the closing of that transaction process and everything that goes on in between. Our mission, or my team, is to educate the consumer on the process of buying or selling a home to take the stress out of the sale when it's time to make a move, because buying or selling a home is listed as one of the single most stressful things that anyone does in their life. And you typically do it once every 7 years. So to say that you don't need somebody to help you walk through the process and help you navigate those systems and help you understand all of the legalities and all of the things that go into getting a new home or selling your home can be daunting. I have a lot of clients who have decided that they want to try it on their own. And I always tell people, I'm not going to be the person to stand in your way. I'm not going to be offended. I'm not going to be upset. If you think this is something that you want to do, I'm more than happy to allow you to do that. 99% of the time, if I've ever had somebody that tries on their own, they end up coming back to me saying, hey, I don't know how you do this. I would prefer to just let you handle this for me. Negotiating is something that is drastically important in real estate. And I know a lot of people are kind of shaking their heads at that, thinking, no, it's not. We just came through a market where everybody's bidding over asking price, waiving their inspections, waiving their contingencies, doing all of these things. But guess what? That wasn't a real market. That is not what real estate is typically going to look like. And I think a lot of people got a false sense of how good they could be in this industry and don't understand the negotiating skills that are to go into moving forward. And that's negotiating at every level. Let's take, for example, a listing that I have coming up. I got to go through the process of obviously looking up and figuring out the value of that home. And in the past 18 months, once I've provided a value to some people, they might say, well, hey, I want to try it at this higher price and let's see what happens. Now, I've been in real estate for almost 17 years now, and I've got the ability to prove to people why I think the value that I'm providing is the right range for them to be in. But a lot of times, there's a lot of people that think their home is worth more, and a lot of agents would be able to just say, okay, let's try it. And because of the market the way it was, those homes would still sell. But as the market changes and becomes a little bit more balanced, that's not necessarily going to be the case anymore. And being able to effectively let a seller know why I think raising the price too high could be detrimental in the long run, I think that's a necessary negotiating tactic, because statistically, if you price it too high on day one, you're going to end up taking less money for it in the long run. And I let my sellers know that, and I show them the statistics on that. I can show them how much other homes have had to reduce and how long they sat on the market, and explain why I ultimately don't want to be the person to make you upset. But my job as a professional is to give you the best advice possible. And if it makes you upset today, I'd rather you be upset with me today than 6 months from now when your house is still on the market and we ultimately have to take even less money than I think I can get you today. Those are the skills in negotiating that are developed over time, over the practice of helping sellers get their home on the market. Guess what? That's round one. That's just getting my foot in the door to take the listing. After that, I have to negotiate every single offer that comes in to make sure that we're getting the best deal for the seller. And the best deal is not necessarily the best money, because there are times when the best money may not be able to happen anyways. I've seen offers that have come in on homes that are so far above asking price that they're never going to appraise for that. And I have to make sure that the seller understands the potential of what that means if that home doesn't appraise. And if the buyer doesn't have the cash to cover a appraisal gap, they can walk away from that transaction. And if there are other terms that are unfavorable, it doesn't matter how much money, in some cases, those sellers are going to get above somebody else, they're not willing to go through those. And without having the experience of someone who's gone through those processes or who understands those type of things to be able to sit face to face and tell them the merits of some offers versus the cons of some offers, that is something that no technology is ever going to be able to replace. Or the fact that, people go through real estate transactions a lot of times in very hard parts of their life. It's often said that death, divorce, and distress are 3 Ds in real estate that are reasons for people to have to move. Death, obviously, selling a home is a very, very emotional thing if you're selling a home for a family member who's passed away. Whether expected or unexpected, that is an emotional time. And it's great to have somebody who is a completely unbiased third party, but who also understands and knows what it is you're going through and can have the time to be compassionate and help you through that process. Divorce, obviously never a fun time for anybody, and that's one of those things that I'm never happy to hear about, and I never want to walk into that appointment with a smile on my face or anything else, because I know how hard divorces can be, and I know that people are going through not only the emotional problems of selling that home, but also the emotional stress of splitting their family at times. Distress, where maybe they've lost a job and they no longer have the income to pay for the beautiful house that was their dream home that they wanted to be in. These are things that are hard as an agent to deal with. People think, oh man, it just must be great to sell these expensive homes and make all this money. But I develop relationships with the people that I work with. They become friends and almost like family a lot of times. So to put myself in a position to understand and empathize and help them through that's just something that a lot of technology isn't going to be able to do. A lot of people buy and sell homes emotionally and they try to justify it rationally. And the truth of the matter is it's hard to have somebody who has no emotion try to help you through the rational thought process of getting that done. Every single real estate transaction I have ever been involved in has had something go wrong. And that can range from something very small to something catastrophic in instances. But because I've been through so many transactions and I've seen all the things that can go wrong and all of the problems that can arise, I have ways to be able to figure out how we move forward from those. Technology is not always going to be able to do that, because guess what? Having options of how to move forward is different than being told this is the only option that you have. And a lot of people don't like being told that option is the only option. So making sure that you have somebody who has been through multiple transactions, who has experience going through those things and can offer you guidance for you to figure out what's the best move for you is something that's never going to be replaced by technology. Technology has obviously changed the way that we do real estate. I can't tell you anything that I do today that I did the same way when I first got into real estate, other than understanding the contracts and the procedural parts of that contract. But even our contracts have changed over time. Everything that we do has changed over the time I've been in real estate, and I only see that continuing to change in the future. Innovation has made us more effective, more efficient, and people who have adopted this technology in their lives will continue to be better and better at what they do. But the human aspect of developing relationships and taking care of people will never go away from this industry. Do I think agents are obsolete in the tech era? I think some may become that way, but the people who utilize it properly will still be in the business forever.